Hello, my name's Bev and I'm the author of the book Please Eat, A Mother's Struggle to Free Her Teenage Son from Anorexia, which describes our family's battle with the deadly eating disorder, anorexia nervosa, which my teenage son Ben developed back in 2009 when he was just 15 years old. These next two posts are from the beginning of March 2011 and they both look back at the progress Ben was making and had made in the last 12 months when he'd been under the care of CAMHS for treatment of his eating disorder. And this first post is from the 1st of March and it's called A Nice Walk in the Woods. Oh, sunshine, warmth and spring flowers at last, which was a great excuse for a walk in the woods this afternoon to gather some dead wood for the fire. If you remember, Ben is still doing mornings only at school, although he didn't make it in today due to another night's insomnia. And also, as you may remember, these days walks are great opportunities for nice, positive, heart-to-heart chats as Ben opens up about his anorexia. Back in the bad old days, we'd do umpteen walks, especially when he was off school last spring and summer, and I'd be so frustrated at the lack of progress or promises to improve this, that and the other, which I knew the anorexia wouldn't let him keep. Autumn would turn into winter, it would snow, then spring would come, followed by summer, and the negative slide downhill would continue. It was incredibly disheartening and worrying. I just didn't seem to be able to get through to him. This spring feels altogether different, and I know this summer will too. Like the description of the beach holiday in France in the previous blog post, last summer had a surreal feel to it. To all intents and purposes, life was going on as normal around us and we should have been full of the joys of spring with gorgeous weather and beautiful countryside. But really it might as well have been the deepest, darkest winter for how we all felt inside. I love it when Ben talks about his anorexia in the past tense and looks forward to an anorexia-free future. We've also been talking about possible last-minute bookings for a holiday this summer, probably somewhere in England. Both of us know that he'll probably be absolutely fine this time round. Well, 90% fine. We may still have a few glitches, such as getting sufficient food into him when he's in a different environment to the home environment he's used to. Or not. Who knows? What I do know is that things have changed and the warmer, brighter, happier days are on the way. And look at my body, he exclaimed this lunchtime, pulling up his t-shirt to show me a torso while still thin. Wasn't so stick thin, you could see his ribs, which used to be the case, and his hip bones don't stick out like they used to do. Plus, his face looks more fleshy, and he lost the dark rings around his eyes waif look ages ago, I'm thankful to say. I'm so proud of you, I said, and gave him a great big hug as he reached for the Flora margarine to spread on his fruit tea loaf. For ages, any butter-type spread was a fear food, but no longer. He's also talking about trialling full days at school. Sorry, but I couldn't help mentioning school dinners, which has always been my main concern. He doesn't like to talk about that because the anorexic thoughts still stress him out in the way they make him feel he has to plan things meticulously, and he'd rather not think about it right now. And the next post from the 5th of March is called And I Thought It Would Only Take 6 months or so max. Funny how at the start you look at the anorexia as if it was a physical illness, in that you can ask the doctor how long it will take to cure and they tell you 6 months max or whatever. I even found stuff on the internet which reckoned teenagers have undergone a full recovery from diagnosis to discharge from treatment in just months. Then it gradually dawns on you that, sorry, but you're in for the long haul and no one can tell you how long it will last. I'd love to sit there and write that recovery is a quick, straightforward process, because I know that's what I longed to hear at the start. Unfortunately, it isn't. And the deeper you get into this, the more you realise that anorexia will be part of your family life for some time, possibly years to come. Even after official full recovery, they say it can take up to a year for the brain to fully heal. Also, our CAMHS treatment team have said they will continue to monitor Ben for 12 months after he is officially discharged. And I know that relapses can be common, especially in new stressful circumstances like going away to university. It's not nice, and it isn't what I would have chosen for Ben's teenage years, but that's the way it is, and the way it will be for some time to come. And I've kind of got used to it by now in a bizarre way. That's the end of that post. So the question is, did CAMHS monitor Ben for 12 months after he was officially discharged from treatment? And the answer is no, they didn't, because in a year's time Ben was discharged from CAMHS because he'd reached the age of 18. He wasn't recovered, but CAMHS only deals with under 18s, so Ben was kind of just discharged and left to fend for himself, apart from there was somebody who came round to just check up once on how Ben was doing, but it was someone we hadn't seen before who didn't know Ben's history or the treatments or anything, and not surprisingly he didn't hit it off with them, so that was the end of the treatment, and it was left to me to work with Ben after he was discharged when he reached the age of 18. And this is something that happens to a lot of young people when everything has been going quite well with CAMHS until they reach the age of 18, when they're discharged, whether they're recovered or not, and kind of just thrown out. So either having to start with adult mental health services with a completely different treatment team and possibly a different treatment model, or they're just, like Ben, left to fend for themselves, which is something that I feel strongly should not happen for obvious reasons, but unfortunately that seems to be the way things are. So in a way there's this extra pressure to get as much done while they're still under the treatment of CAMHS before they reach the magic age of 18, because if there's still a long way to go once they reach the age of 18, things can go quite pear-shaped, purely and simply because of the cut-off point on their 18th birthday, which is crazy. I mean, I must admit that Ben was given a couple more months with CAMHS after his 18th birthday, but that was all. That was the maximum. And anyway, the psychiatrist was actually leaving, so it kind of would have ended then anyway. But do keep following me through this story, because you'll find out the things that I did to help Ben recover once he had been discharged from CAMHS, which may or may not work for you, because as I keep saying, everybody is different. No two situations are the same, but you might be able to pick up one or two tips. And there's always the Around the Dinner Table forum and the Feast community, which are always supportive, and it doesn't matter what age the young person is, of course. So anyway, thank you for listening. You'll find a link below to my blog, and you'll also find a link to my website where you can download free PDFs of my blog, and also a link to Amazon where you can buy a copy of my book.